Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 Tune in to TLS. Yeah, tune in to TLS. It's the TLS show. Coming to you live from the TLS show.
Hey, welcome to Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. Social commentary, hot topics, and amazing guests with a ton of fun and shenanigans along the way. This week's podcast, we're going to get into Chris Rock's Netflix special. Ooh, saying that 3 times fast. Netflix special. Selective Outrage. And we're wondering how Will Smith feels about it. All right, plus we've got daycare owner who shot her husband for molesting children in her care. Then we'll talk about the ethics of gene editing. And we have to talk about those 2 Americans killed in Mexico claiming to be there for a tummy tuck. All right, you can watch us live on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitch TV. We will be trolling your comments on YouTube and Facebook at TLSLiveShow or TLSShow.com. So feel free to join in the conversation. As always, I've got to introduce you to my amazing co-hosts. First up today, we have our nature lover, gamer, rock star, coming to you from Ontario, Canada, Mr. Rob B. Rock.
What's up, my friends? It's great to see you. Had a really great week. My wife and I set up our maple sap collectors on the property a little bit ahead of schedule, but I'm in the office next week, so I wanted to make sure that things are ready and that when the temperature rises, we'll be able to start collecting our sap.
Maple
And
sap
during my
collect-
downtime, oh yeah, and then we just boil it down to syrup.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
you sent me some of that syrup. That was some delicious syrup, by the way. That was really good.
Oh, I couldn't send you the stuff I actually made. I got you.
Oh, you
that
sent
was,
me. Oh, you
actual
sent me
maple
some
syrup. When you come up and
some
visit,
knockoff stuff.
absolutely. But this is our second year doing it, so hopefully this batch will be better. And yeah, during my downtime, I've been enjoying some PSVR2 gaming.
PlayStation.
Decided to treat myself for my 50th birthday in November. Finally went and did it, and I'm one of those people who gets a touch of sim sickness.
Oh, me too.
So
Mm-hmm.
right, so I have to chew
I get more than a touch,
gum.
though.
But I've been reading up on it, and they say to treat it kind of like aviation. So if you're prone to that, chew gum and
Oh, interesting.
limit yourself to 15, 30 minutes. But man, it's a lot of fun. It is really sharp. It's really crisp. It's responsive. And yeah, there's a couple of titles that I'm definitely going to migrate towards. Not the horror ones, because I have a hard time playing them with
Oh,
the controller away from the TV. So if it's up in my face, I'm going to pee my pants. That's not cool. Not
Oh
cool.
my God.
So,
that's
Rob, I'm
cool.
curious. What are your symptoms when you get sim sickness?
What is
It-
that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of dizziness. It's a little bit of nausea, and if you're not careful, if you stay a little bit too long that way, then it can definitely develop into a headache. And what they say is if you're prone to limit your game time to maybe 15 minutes at a time when you're first learning, so that you can get your VR legs. Because what happens is your eyes are telling you that you're moving, but your inner ear is telling you that you're not.
You're
So
still.
marrying that information in your brain takes a bit. Yeah. So I know that my wife really is leery to try it out, but my in-laws were over this week and they tried out this silly little game where your hands are bats. And it was great. My mother-in-law played for about 10 minutes and she's like, okay, I'm starting to get a little bit dizzy. And then father-in-law was playing for about 15 minutes and it was just kind of like, okay, well, dinner's on the table. He was like, what? It was just going and having fun.
I gotta tell you, so
That's
So my symptoms are a little bit different than most people. So I get a really bad headache. So I can really always tell when I'm getting sick, when I have a really bad headache. But instead of wanting to I get the nausea and want to throw up, I have to poop. the weirdest thing. It makes me want to poop. I'm so bad. I just like
Really?
yeah, it's the craziest feeling. I'm like,
Like you
why do I feel like I need to poop so bad?
Is it like a nerve?
can't say that happens for me.
No idea. I have no idea what. I feel like I'm weird or something. But anyway, all right.
You might be
Ginger ale and soda
That's so
crackers
weird.
afterwards.
It's something.
Ginger ale and soda crackers.
All right. Next up, our college student model, business owner, streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, I've missed you. This week has been pretty hectic because I'm finally moving. I know I'm excited to say that. I'm
Oh, you're moving out of
very
your house, your apartment, your neighborhood.
Yes, I'm finally moving out of this neighborhood,
Okay.
and I'm moving out of Atlanta. So I'm
Oh,
moving
really?
to a yeah. I'm moving to a city called Stone Mountain in Georgia. So it's about 30 minutes, 30 minutes from Atlanta. It's north. And I'm gonna be in the mountains hiking. No, I'm kidding. But Stone Mountain is just a safer, it's a nicer area, and the apartment I got is nicer. So I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful because you guys already know my experience at this apartment. It's been crazy.
Yeah, you
So,
had a
yeah.
rough time. You had a rough time. You gotta get,
Congratulations.
yeah, congratulations. You gotta get out of there.
Thank you guys. Yes.
All right.
I'll keep you updated on the move and let you know about that neighborhood. I checked it out. I even went out in the evening to check it out because you know you got to see it in all of its elements. So I checked it out
yes.
at night. It looked
Did you go check out the Confederate imagery on Stone Mountain? As I'm looking at Stone Mountain in Georgia?
I've heard.
You better
I've
watch out.
heard There's some.
Better watch out out there.
There's some neighborhoods. But what's interesting is Stone Mountain is actually more foreigners. So like Ethiopians, like Indians,
Great food. Love
Asians,
Ethiopian.
a lot.
Nice.
I know. So I'll be around kind of my people, technically. Sure.
Hey, your people. All right.
Yeah.
And that other female voice you're hearing in the background, we have a special guest host. She was a Black Excellence Spotlight in February, and we loved her so much. We asked her to come back to guest host with us. Clinical psychologist, CEO, founder of the Black Voice Project, Dr. Rochelle Thompson, also known as Dr.
I'm
T.
so happy. Yes, thank you all for having me back yet again. This is going to be amazing because now I get to be a part of the conversation because
Yeah, that's right.
last time you all were talking and I'm like in the chats like, yes. So I'm super honored and happy to be here and to be a part of the conversation. But I'm also even happier to be a fan. I've really grown to like the show and I love the work that you all are doing. And so I am a fan and I'm so super excited that I get to be a part of this experience today.
Oh, we love having you. We loved your. We really loved your energy.
Love
Yeah.
that energy.
When you came on the last time, we just liked your energy, your personality. So we were excited to bring you back.
Love it. Love it.
All right. All right. We're gonna have some fun with you too later, so it'll be good. All right, and of course, I am Neo Nix. So last week I mentioned my new fun project that I've been working on. It's like I've been using AI to create, unique art pieces, and you can check out some of them on Instagram. It's at Black by AI. So it's basically creating Black themed digital art, using AI. So at Black by AI. So like here's some of the stuff.
Oh, that's
Some of
beautiful.
the stuff you've generated is pretty good.
Hey, you had examples.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I was working with it, I was kind of impressed with some of the stuff that I was creating. So I've actually put it, if you go on Instagram on your app, I've actually put it to music. So like, I have this one called Watched, and the music is Somebody's Watching Me, by Rockwell. Somebody's watching me. I can't sing, so don't expect me to sing very too.
You can harmonize.
Wow.
So yeah.
I would so buy one of these and frame it. Like,
Right?
Speaking of that,
Frame it.
the cool thing about it is I'm actually looking at. I'm all set up now to sell them as NFTs. So I haven't
Oh,
sold
wow.
anything yet. But I'm trying to
Nice.
figure out the process and all that good stuff. But I'm excited to see what happens. So I'll keep you guys informed of like what happens
Yeah.
and updates on the progress on that. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of them
Wow.
I'm going to
Some of
frame
them are
myself because they turned out fantastic. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
absolutely.
want to print one of them,
Yeah.
especially the one with the woman in the figure by the moon. That one's really cute. I actually want that.
Like, I'm trying.
I want that in my home.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah, so yeah, I'll keep you updated and let you know how to get a hold of it. But all right, so
Okay, cool.
now we got to get into the show, but before we do, right, we have a rite of passage for every new guest host. It's a series of quick fire questions designed to help you, our audience, get to know the host. A little game we call the hot. All
I
right,
missed that little groove. I missed that little groove.
Dr. T, are you ready for the hot seat?
I am going to be as ready as I can be, okay?
All
Let's
right.
go.
Quick fire, just the first thing that comes to your mind. All right. R&B, hip hop, alternative, pop music, or country.
R&B, and I got to shout out my man Tank. I love
Tank.
him. So, yes, that is the R&B
Yes.
king. Okay.
R&B king even.
Yes, yes. And
Tank
I
is
blame
good.
his sabbatical. The reason that when he stopped, the world just went crazy and we stopped falling in love. So shout out to Tank. Tank, if you see this, it's your fault that people hated each other. Okay. So yeah.
We're going to tag Tank in there. Let me put it on.
Please do.
All right. Pizza, a burger and french fries, or pecan encrusted chicken breast with a side of truffle roasted potatoes and asparagus.
Say
Wait
that
a minute.
fast, like 3 times. Like, whoa.
So good.
Listen, I'm going to go with a good old-fashioned New York slice of pizza. Give that to
Oh,
me.
she's a pizza
Yes.
girl. She's a pizza
Yes.
girl. That's a good answer right there. All right. Lifetime movies, Harry Potter movies, Fast and the Furious movies, or Star Wars movies.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Lifetime movies. Love to see people whose lives are worse than mine. It's like, whoa,
Oh, yeah.
boom, love it. Your
Oh,
life
yeah.
is not going well. You married down. So,
You're like my
love
wife.
that.
You're like my wife. All right.
I love that too.
That's awesome.
It's such a good Lifetime movie.
All right.
You do.
Yes.
All right. A party with friends, the club with your girlfriends, a concert with someone you love, or chill at home with a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Chill at
Ooh.
home with a pint of ice cream. Give me those 20 extra
Oh.
pounds.
I'm with you. That's a good answer too.
Worth it. Worth it.
Answer. All right. Bungee
Good
jumping,
answer.
skydiving, zip lining, riding ATVs, or you have lost your damn mind.
You have lost your damn mind. But I will watch and record
Okay.
and upload.
Sit down.
I'm with you. All
You
right.
can come.
Last question. Then you're off the hot seat. The one
Whew.
thing you love most about yourself.
Oh,
I am beautifully made. Okay. I am just, my soul just radiates. I feel like I've been on this earth before, and that's what I love about
Yes.
myself.
I love that
So.
too.
Yes.
You're off the hot seat.
Thank you. Whew. It was getting hot.
That was awesome,
Good
though. You did a
job.
great job. Great job. I
Great.
feel like I know you a little better. So yeah, hopefully
Like,
the audience
Great.
does.
I lost you at Tank. But then we,
You
I'm
lost
glad
me
I
at
got you
Tank.
back. So.
I don't know. You might have kept Gianni around. You might have lost me though.
Gianni, my
Tank's a
girl,
decent
yeah.
singer. Tank's a decent singer. I'm not
Thank
gonna lie.
you.
Tank put some
I
good
like
music out. There were some good songs.
He did. Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some of these hot topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Gianni, you want to talk about that Chris Rock Netflix special? What's up?
Yes. So if you've been on Netflix recently, you may have seen Chris Rock's new stand-up special. It's called Selective Outrage. Well, towards the end of his show, we finally got to hear his take on the 2022 Oscars incident when Will Smith got on stage and slapped Chris Rock over his joke. So Chris based his show on Will's selective outrage, I put that in quotations, which is about the entanglement with Jada
Entanglements.
Pinkett.
Mm.
The entanglement that Jada Pinkett had a few years ago when she was cheating on Will Smith, allegedly with singer August Alsina. So apparently, sources say that Will is embarrassed and hurt by the jokes that Chris Rock said in his show. And he's upset actually at Netflix too for giving him the platform to like have this message. And he thinks it's distasteful. So my question to you guys, do you think Chris's Netflix special was for media attention? Or do you believe that he was just genuinely trying to share his opinions? And also, according to Chris Rock, do you think Will Smith has selective outrage? Interesting.
Let's start with. I want to start with Robbie. Let's start.
All right.
We'll jump into Dr. T.
No, so I don't believe that his special is for media attention. And despite the fact that he addressed the altercation, it's not the crux of the performance. Chris had a lot of inspiration from which to draw upon since his last special. And when it comes to selective outrage, I think that we all have it. So I'm not going to single anybody out for it. Seriously. But you know, overall, the performance, some of it was on point, some of it was brilliant, some of it was crazy, but some of it was cringy. But overall, it was a good performance. I appreciated his take on victim culture. He called up those who play the victim card and hard. And it's true, because if we're all victims, then the true victims really fall off the radar. You know, if you want to know who Ukrainians are currently victims of Putin's ambitions.
So you don't
sexual assault victims are victims.
You don't think Will Smith is a victim?
No. I'm talking about Megan here, man. Like marrying into a
talking about Megan.
racist society and expecting it to change is naive. Megan is a victim of her own expectations in this instance. Is she a victim of bullying? Sure.
So you agree with Chris Rock on Megan, huh?
Oh, yeah. Hell yes, I do.
Oh, no.
Hell yes, I do. Come on, man.
What do you think?
We all know people who've had it rough with their in-laws for all kinds of reasons. It's not a new script. It's not a new script. And his swipe back at Will and his family is brilliant. I think that, you know, despite being physically assaulted by Will Smith, Chris denies that he was a victim. And I think that that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The way that he brags about his daughters, I think that's really another rip on the Smiths family. So touche, man, touche. And at the end of the day, it stems from a bald joke that didn't land properly. If we can't tell bald jokes about women, I don't want to hear another bald joke or have anyone rub or kiss my head for luck. We can't have it.
But okay, wait a minute. Now you bring up something. Wait. It wasn't just a bald joke. I mean, she does suffer from a condition. I'm just saying he may not have been aware. He claims he wasn't aware, but I'm just saying. But yeah, I got some bald jokes too. I mean,
what condition, Neil? What condition?
Right, that's true. That's true. We do have our own condition. That's true. We have our own condition. Male pattern baldness.
It's which is a form of alopecia.
Male pattern.
So
that's true. That's a true point.
Apples to apples.
It is alopecia. That's a very true statement. Very true. Excellent. So,
yeah, she does have.
Real quick, Lizzie says, "Isn't all outrage selective?" Lizzie's online today. All right. And then Jose says, "No, I love rubbing your head for luck, Robbie." What you think, Dr. T?
You know, I will have to get my comedian card taken away from me. I am not a fan of Chris Rock, so most times I'm not going to laugh. He's so with this whole thing, you know, I think, you know, he picked the right time, and I'm sure it was a right dollar amount for him to throw in some stuff to talk about this. But for me, I think it was just a little too late. I think I'd like to hear some of this stuff, and I could have probably been more engaged with it, you know, like when around the time of things happening. And so, you know, for me, I take a different perspective as a a psychologist when we start to see people talk about trauma and things of that nature. And I'm proud of him for saying that he wasn't a victim. But in my, perspective, like I would have liked to hear a little bit more emotion, I guess, about how he really felt about the whole circumstance and like what his process was. But that's just me, in my psychology realm. I'm like, well, how did you get to that place? Because that's a pretty embarrassing thing to like make a joke and then get smacked like that. And so during the time that happened too, by the way, like while I was like, ooh, I kind of understand.
Oh, so you were good with it.
I mean, like if I, my husband, I'd want him to smack somebody too. So with that being said, I think it was not the right place, but I think there were some underlying things. Selective Outrage, maybe that was really for August Alsina. I think that slap was really for him, not for Chris Rock. But I digress,
So wait, who? So we got let everybody know who August Alsina is. So some of the listeners may not know.
Super cute. He's very.
You think he's cute?
He's a singer. Yes, I think he's very. I do. I've always had a crush on August, and he's a singer, and apparently he is also Will Smith's son's friend.
Right.
I was going to say he's
This
one
is
of
the
Jaden's
person.
buddies.
This is the person that
One of
Jada had
Jaden's
the
buddies.
entanglement with. Entanglement. Because Chris went hard on that.
With her son's friend.
I mean, I gotta say, Chris went really hard on that.
He did.
Yeah.
I was like, so I mean, I'm gonna just say personally, I didn't think it was that funny until the end, actually. So when he started getting into all that stuff, I mean, he got some chuckles out of me, but he didn't really have me laughing until the end. I thought it was a little intense. So I've liked some of Chris Rock's work. Chris Rock is not my favorite comedian at all.
Comedian, no, not at all.
But I didn't like his nonstop use of the N-word. I mean, to be honest with you, I get he was doing his nightclub set and he was trying to be raw, but it wasn't that TV comedy show. But I still think he way overused the word. I mean, Chappelle uses it all the time, but he uses it, intentionally. He's very intentional about the way he does it. He uses it so that it makes sense. It hits the joke right. But he was just using it just to use this N-word, this N-word, this N-word. I was like, come on, man. I mean, I just didn't. I felt I didn't really like it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I just really didn't like it until he got to the end where he was really going in on Will Smith and Jada. But he was angry as hell. You could tell. I mean, it's been a year, but the feelings were intense.
They were tense.
I mean, you could tell his adrenaline level was up. I know you as a psychologist know how it is when you get mad, all that adrenaline starts pumping and you do stupid stuff. I mean, his adrenaline, he was angry.
He was hyped.
He was doing a lot of that stuff. It's just like when you're jacked, when you're amped, it's just, okay, I'm going to start making these little noises.
I wasn't.
Wow. Yeah.
But Gianni, you ain't say what you thought.
I mean, I do think he had selective outrage for targeting, but I also kind of feel like he felt pressure to do something because of Jada's reaction to what Chris Rock said. So I think it's selective outrage, but it's also the pressure that maybe other people had on him, like eyes on him. These are celebrities we're talking about. Like they're not just anybody. They're people that everybody is watching, and it's almost kind of like you have to have a mask, like some type of facade in a way. So he does have selective outrage, and I also feel like Chris Rock, this is a double whammy in a sense where it's like a cash grab, it's media attention, and it's also, okay, here's my side. You guys finally get to hear it. Like it's finally out there for you because he knows that people have been kind of wanting to hear his side, and time is ticking. It's getting old. So yeah, I think it's both.
I have a question. So there's this person online. We're running out of time, but there's someone online who said to me on my page that she thinks Chris Rock is obsessed with Jada. Now, in our conversation, she was saying that years ago, Chris Rock was trolling him on social media with some weird comments, and that Rock, and then Rock mentioned that the beef started because in 2006 they boycotted the Oscars because of lack of diversity when Will Smith
Right.
didn't get the nomination for Concussion and all that stuff. So Rock said all that in his bit. But do you guys get the impression that he's obsessed with Jada in some way? I want to point out some people also pointed out that Chris intentionally chose Baltimore for his special because it's Jada's hometown.
That
Anybody?
is kind of weird.
Isn't Chris
I mean,
Rock from the
it's
DC
strategy.
area?
No, I don't think he's from DC. Where's Chris Rock from?
Strategy.
I think he's from. No, I don't think he's from DC.
No,
No,
he's
I
from
would-
New York because
I think he's- yeah, I think
everybody
he's-
hates Chris. Was in,
Yeah, I
like,
think he was New York.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think that I mean, if there's a lot of like coincidences that are not so coincidental, like I think so. Because why did you target Jada, like at the award show? I mean, technically he could have targeted anybody in the front row or anybody.
He was targeting a
But-
few people. He wasn't just talking about Jada.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
I just feel like
Come on,
anything
man.
is you're subjected to see anything in Hollywood, okay? And so
Right?
they do this type
Yes.
of behavior. It's super weird, and then maybe like the
It
next
is.
year we'll see them all hanging out together, hearing some stories about them doing inappropriate things with one another. Allegedly, that I feel like that's what comes out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
I feel like so many
It's
things
true.
come out of Hollywood. So I don't know.
totally agree with
Nothing
you guys.
surprises me out of Hollywood either. So
Yes. it's-
Yeah. No.
All right. So Lizzie, our own Lizzie, has been lighting up our feed here.
Good.
So he says, how many times did he call Jada a bitch in the special? He has been calling Jada a bitch since 1997. He says also, why is Chris so obsessed with their entanglements? What about his own? Had paternity tests and everything, but he chooses to focus on the Smiths. Probably
He
mad
doesn't
because
shy
their
away from
marriage survived
multiple
infidelity.
abortions in his life. He doesn't shy away from
It's
his
easy-
promiscuity
No, matter of
Yeah,
fact, he talked about it quite a bit in his special.
quite openly, and that was the cringy part for me. It was
Quite
just like,
openly.
Oh, that was the cringy part for you. Okay.
some of the language selection, absolutely. That was one of the cringy parts for me. Some of the
Yeah.
language section is
He was-
selections during
yeah,
that bit.
that was a little awkward.
Yeah, he was a little
At least
intense.
He is intense.
Jacqueline
I know
Robinson's. Oh, good.
He called Will a bitch an awful lot of times. I didn't really.
Well, that
pick
was
up on
intentional.
him calling Jade
I thought it was great. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
I thought the way he did it was great.
Bitch move. There was.
He called him a bitch without calling him a bitch, though, because he said other
Yeah.
people referred to him as a bitch.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he
And he
called.
did call him a bitch. He
Like-
said it was a bitch move. He hit him like that.
He called, so he didn't literally call him a bitch. It was very all right. So Jacqueline Robinson says, I'm going to need the Smiths to stop putting their marriage out there for public consumption. It's one thing
I
to
agree
know.
with that.
It's one thing to know they have an open marriage, it's another to openly humiliate one's partner in a very public and messy way.
Yeah, why do we know? Why do we
Agreed.
know?
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think Chris Rock handled that appropriately. All right. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
You know what?
I know you don't
This
have the
is some
paddles, Dr. T, but you can go ahead and just tell us what you think.
It's a comedy special. It's
Shenanigans.
Absolutely. Shenanigans. Chris Rock was, I mean, it was an intense show. But it was I didn't, like I say, it wasn't my favorite, but he really
Wasn't my
did.
favorite stand-up show,
No.
but I'm more of a Cat Williams
Yeah.
comedian. Kind of
Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Cat
I
Williams
love
is
him.
funny, but he's
he's kind of crazy, but he's not everybody's taste. But
I
that's
like
just me.
Chappelle just because he's cerebral. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He gets
I like
deep.
that.
for me.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
he's too politicky. But okay, whatever.
Yeah, no, but that's what I
Mhm.
like. That's my thing.
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right. Let's get to this next topic. We run out of time.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right. So this past week, we saw a video of 4 Americans being kidnapped in Mexico. They were allegedly going into Mexico for one of them to have a tummy tuck procedure performed in Mexico. The alleged patient, her name was Latavia Washington. McGee and her friend Eric Williams, they survived the kidnapping, while two others, Shaheed Woodard and Zindell Brown, were killed. So far, 6 people have been arrested. Most of them were apparently turned over by the leaders of the cartel that was responsible, and they were carrying a letter of apology. Now, let me read this letter. So it says, quote, "The Gulf Cartel Scorpion Group strongly condemns the events of last Friday. For this reason, we decided to hand over those directly involved and responsible for the act, who at all times acted under their own determination and in discipline, and against the rules to which the Gulf Cartel always operates."
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I know, right? It's to me, it sounds pretty arrogant. It sounds like they're saying, you know, we're sorry that our hired killers killed some of your people. They fucked up. Please don't hold us responsible, and please don't stop allowing us to illegally sell drugs to your country and killing other people. You know, please let us keep doing that. You know, just sorry we killed these two. Anyway, so
that's exactly what it sounds
so
like.
far, America really hasn't done much to address the killings. So let me ask you this: do you think the Gulf Cartel should be held accountable, like maybe having the CIA, DEA, or something go in and shut them down, like they've done in many other countries? So, you know, for far less. And do you think more would have already been done if it had been a young group of white Americans kidnapped and killed? I'm going to start with Gianni. What do you think?
To answer the latter question, I do think that it would have been a different reaction from the government, from the U.S. government towards this scenario. I think there would have been more action. We probably would have heard more about it. I mean, this is very well like covered. I'm just saying it would have been blown up. I do agree. I do think that, but also I think I'm biased, guys. I think there's more to the story. It's just weird. I mean, a lot of people say that it's weird the reason they're going to that part of town. I mean, it's just,
For a tummy tuck?
why are you going there for a tummy tuck? And then also with the whole thing about they do have criminal charges, I want to bring that in. That's not immediately what strikes me, but it's just the setup of 3 guys, 1 girl,
Well, you're
all
talking
in
about
there.
you're talking about the fact that the 4 people involved supposedly had allegedly, or actually have previous drug convictions.
Yes.
And so you're saying that possibly they were doing some type of
Connected
drug
to
deal.
Drug deal. Yeah, I haven't completely ruled that out in my personal opinion.
I know. I
Because-
just find because the New York Post, I think, was reported that, and I don't know. It's always, you know, when you have black victims, the first thing you do is you demonize them, you incriminate them in some way. I'm a little iffy on that,
Yeah.
and I want to point out as rumors. So
It
was rumored that they may have had a drug deal or something like that. So it's not 100%. Just because they had drug convictions, a couple of them had drug convictions in the past, doesn't mean that they all went down there to do drugs. It's possible.
There's just missing links. And I just feel like there's undoubtedly a bigger issue when it comes to like the violence from the cartel, how they even have guns, because I don't think guns are made in Mexico. I'm not sure. But
They make guns everywhere.
but
I
like they're
wonder
not
if they
sold.
have a
I'm
neighbor
sorry.
up
They're not
north.
sold.
I wonder if they have a neighbor up north where they can easily acquire firearms.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder, Johnny. I wonder if those firearms are funneled
Why?
south of the border illegally for money. I wonder.
Yeah.
How are they getting guns?
The U.S. isn't making guns like that. What are you talking about? They don't make guns. I mean, shoot, guns are made everywhere. Come on, guns are made literally
They're
everywhere.
Guns from 3D
Shoot,
printers these days.
They're
Guns
probably using Mexican labor to make guns in America for Americans.
God, that's horrible.
Oh my
I'm just saying.
Shit.
Selective outrage. Selective outrage.
Yeah.
So,
But
what do
I
you-
mean, we know that
go ahead.
No,
Okay.
go ahead. I want to hear from somebody else about this topic.
Yeah, I was going to ask Dr. T, what you think?
Whenever we get to a place where a drug cartel writes an apology letter,
Right.
This is clearly to me some cahoots, with somebody. I highly doubt And we've seen the federal government, and I won't go into my beliefs on that. We've seen the federal government support drug cartels before.
Yep.
And so to me, it's really unfortunate that these 4 individuals lost their lives, period. Okay, for whatever reason. I think
Just
we
let
have a
you know,
bigger
2
issue.
individuals lost their lives. 4 were kidnapped.
I'm sorry,
2
2.
lost their lives. Yep.
2, and then being kidnapped in general is just like a really traumatic experience. And so we're constantly seeing Americans in general now. It's becoming more of a theme where we are going out of the country and just we're not making it back home. So I've seen a lot of stories where we're seeing African Americans or people of color especially end up going out of town and not coming back home. So that is really unfortunate.
I think there's 3 Texans that recently that are missing that went to Mexico. I just read a report that 3 Texans are missing. They went to Mexico and they're lost somewhere.
Something happened.
Wow.
Okay.
And I like to see more action done on the government's behalf on and Americans in general. So you don't have to be red, black, white, purple, blue, but I like to know that if I'm an American citizen and something like this happens, that the government is going to advocate on my behalf and is going to make sure that whoever did something to me is upheld to the highest standard of whatever it is that they can do. I do think if it were 4 white faces, I mean, from what we know, no offense to anybody, but from what we know and what we've seen, that we probably would have heard something from our president by now about this. And so that's unfortunate. But I'm just stuck on, I'm trying to visually see the drug cartel leader sitting down, writing a letter. Who came up? Do they have a marketing person? Do they have a PR?
He's got a PR guy for that. He's got a PR guy.
So what do we need to do? I'm trying to understand. I'm there in that space. So was he okay, PR person, okay, we need to really figure this out. Get me a letter and let's go ahead and send it with these 3 guys, okay? And so I just want to walk through that. I wish I could be a fly on the wall with that conversation because that just doesn't seem like cartel stuff to do. I feel like you should have just killed the 3 people that did whatever they did. That's cartel behavior. So this new drug cartel, this is 2023 drug cartel. This is not the ones that I grew up on. The ones I grew up on don't write apology letters, but I appreciate it. So I digress. That's my thoughts.
It's so weird. It is true. How did that even
never would have a letter? A letter, not even like a Twitter or something. Just a letter.
And it was sent to the Mexican
you could track
police.
a Twitter account, man. You could geolocate a Twitter account. You can't geolocate a letter. Come on, man.
And who was it sent to? Dear Mr. DEA and CIA. I'd really need to authenticate that letter. And who signed it? What was the signature? From Mr. Leader Gulf Cartel. And I don't want nobody from the Gulf Cartel coming after me. I'm just saying, I respect what you did. You wrote a letter.
Right.
So,
no, but really, I mean, in this
Came with
instance,
pictures.
the culprits were turned in. The DEA is already actively involved in the war against the cartels. It's not the first time that a North American tourist gets killed in Mexico. We see it in the Canadian news all the time. And guess what? It's
all the more reason they need to be
people that are
doing
being
something
killed.
about it.
But dude,
Why
if
is
they
the
stay on the
cartel
resort or off the resort, this happens. So know where you're going. It's this when you are traveling, it's incumbent upon you to keep yourself safe. So you don't. I was telling Johnny earlier, if I were to visit Atlanta, one of the first things I would ask are, where are the problem areas? Not so I can go hang out there, so that I can avoid them. So if someone with a criminal history happens to be caught in an altercation, in an entanglement in a foreign nation because they're in a high crime area, it adds up. From the outside looking in, you kind of go, okay. And I think that the apology is more than enough because
you're good with the apology.
Here, let me call you on that. But who are you to say that the apology isn't good enough? When was the last time that an organized criminal group? When was the last time that an organized American criminal group accidentally harmed
Never.
or killed someone and issued a public apology? When was the last time that
They
happened?
would do it because it's stupid.
The Crips leave a letter saying, "Hey, sorry, we peppered the wrong house with bullets. All bad." So, hats off to the Mexicans
Yeah, they
for
wouldn't.
being classy and above board.
Stupid, right?
That's true, Rob. That's true.
Oh, wow.
It's certainly a different
Keep
way.
your ass on the resort. Keep your ass on the resort.
I'm not even gonna comment because my comments pretty much mirror you guys. So I agree with
funny.
Dr. T on this. All right, so it's just
In tears.
lies.
Tears.
This is, I don't know if it's truth, lies, or shenanigans.
It's probably
I'm
all
gonna
three.
say
That's a
both.
good point because it's like
I was gonna say I feel like it's all three.
it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I don't know if it's true, if it's lie. I mean, the shenanigans behind the cartel. I mean, it's just craziness. Let me get to
It
these
sounds like
comments.
We draw
from,
the line at cartel leaners writing letters. We draw the line. That's where I do drugs, kill people, but I draw the line at you writing letters
I'm with you.
of apology.
All right, let's get to these comments.
Like the letters.
Lizzie says, "Keep your ass on the resort."
Yeah.
Jacqueline Robinson, there's a language barrier, bad phone service, and other issues. The procedures are indeed cheaper. There's a reason some American doctors will not perform certain procedures. A smaller
Sure.
tummy, bigger butt, and other enhancements aren't worth dying for. Jose
Nope.
says, I feel as though you are taking a major risk going to Mexico. On and off resort violence for years now. This is wild. The cartel apologized.
Yeah.
Jacqueline Robinson also says, ladies, take care when getting these procedures in foreign countries. So much can go wrong, from untreated infections to violence. The State Department has cautioned Americans from traveling to that region since October.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely a bad idea. You know, send all your tummy tucks to Canada.
Yeah. I blame this on the United States healthcare system. So
100%. United States healthcare system is trash. All right, let's get to the next topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Dr. T, you are up.
All right.
Young lady is
well,
in
you know
jail
what?
because she
Y'all
shot her
have made
husband.
this. Yes, y'all have made this so interesting. I'm sorry, I still have tears in my eyes, Robbie, from you. So I apologize. I hope I can get through my stuff. So last year, July 21st, Shanteari Weems shot her husband, James Weems. Shanteari was an owner of a daycare center out of Owings Mills. And so she ended up getting allegations made by 3 children that went to this daycare, stating that her husband sexually abused or molested those children. And so she snapped, shot her husband. He ended up, he has not faced charges or like the court system as of yet, but she has gotten sentenced, and she was sentenced to, I believe, 4 years. And so there was this overwhelming support for her on the internet, stating that we need to protect her at all costs. We need to put money on her bail and bond because she did the right thing. Do you all agree with that? I mean, we're back with this vigilante justice behavior, and before I give my thoughts as the therapist part of me, I'd like to hear from you all. What do you think? Should we support? Is this normal? Is this okay? Like, do we want to take justice in our own hands?
Well, let me start it off. So as much as I would have probably done the exact same thing,
Right.
I do think she deserves some jail time, but given the crime, the fact that he survived and her state of mind, I think the 2 years in the original plea deal was probably reasonable. So I'm actually, me personally, I think I'm a little more upset with the judge, Michael O'Keefe.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, because Shanteari accepted a plea deal with the prosecutors for 2 years, which means, you forego the option of a jury trial, right? Because you agreed to 2 years. And honestly, there's a good chance the jury would have been okay with supporting her and would have let her off. So she might have got no time. But then the judge decides to throw out her plea deal and give her twice the time. So that's bullshit to me. I'm not cool with that. You know, it's more examples of the American justice system failing. So I'm pissed about that personally.
Yes.
But you know, yeah, did she deserve some jail time? Sure. Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
it was vigilante justice.
It's aggravated assault with an unlicensed weapon. So again, too many guns in America. You have a gun culture problem. Did she have every right to be outraged? Absolutely. Should she despise this man? Should she take justice into her own
Could
hands?
she have snapped? Yes.
She could, absolutely. And I mean, I can appreciate why she snapped, because she was betrayed at the highest level when the people that are in your care, when it's your mission to protect these people, and your partner violates your trust and violates those children. That's unfathomable.
I can't imagine being in the Mandarin Hotel in that room and him probably admitting to it, and just the feelings that probably went through her mind at that moment. Like I said, I can't say that I wouldn't have done it too.
But if she could have gone to the hotel to have this conversation without a gun. She could have.
I'm sorry. I probably would have done the same thing.
He's an ex-cop who's going to jail for touching little kids. He's not going to fare well in the system. So if this would have happened after, if this
thinking about that though.
After the fact, if it would have been a trial and he would have gotten off on a technicality, and then she goes back and shoots him, then I kind of go,
I'm not thinking logically like that, Rob. Nobody's thinking logically like that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna go to jail for so many years. He might even get off. I mean, there's a possibility he could get off and all. Nobody's thinking.
But I'm with you, Neo. Like the 4 years from the judge was excessive when they were the original plea was for 2. That's like, come on.
It'd be different if she had pled to 4 and then been like, okay.
Yeah, she's not a danger to anyone else. Are you the POS that she's married to that's diddling kids? Okay, yes, then you're in trouble. Not, then okay, you're cool.
Danny, what you think?
I mean, Dr. T, I have also noticed that spike of, like what you said, vigilante justice and people taking crime into their own hands. I understand it because we have like a culture of people that don't trust the legal system, they don't trust the government, they don't trust cops, and then also an increase of violence. So it's like the Robin Hood story. Like that's gonna happen. I agree that I don't think that it helps. Like it's not like, oh, this is a better alternative and this is gonna change things and we all need to do this. But I understand it deeply because in this scenario, it's hard to not feel empathetic for her. It's almost like she could have felt like a mother to those children in a sense, because she even said that when the mother came to her, she grew. Yeah, it was like she was a baby, that she came in as a baby and that she's now like a young kid. And to know that her husband she trusted did something like this, I feel like this is a crime of passion. I feel like this was right, and she doesn't deserve any jail time in my opinion. But I'm clearly not the judge, obviously, and I do think that the judge was wrong, but this sounds like a crime of passion because technically he cheated on her, which sounds gross because these are children, but he cheated on her, he betrayed her, and to like Rob said, to the highest degree, he betrayed her.
That's a good point. I mean, you make a good point about the cheating because
That's a great point.
It's like triple fold, right? It's like cheated, betrayed the trust, because she trusted him around the kids to protect the kids, she said,
right,
and to protect her. So she has her business, so he destroyed her business. He destroyed him.
Yes.
I mean, he destroyed everything. He destroyed the kids' lives, everything.
Yes.
I mean, he's
Horrible.
a pariah. So, I mean, it's like
the
worst of the worst right there.
100.
And then she gets jail time on top of it. Like she's having the worst stroke of luck, which makes me feel like maybe she knew low key the whole time. So this is kind of like the whiplash of that. She probably, I don't know, women, we have good intuition. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Some do.
Maybe she thought her husband was cheating. She just didn't know who he was cheating with.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
You know.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Dr.?
I was just struggling with this one. A part of me wanted to send her $20 on her books, but then like another part of me is like, next time let's just throw some hot grits on them or something. Let's throw some water or baby oil on them and spank them with a belt or something. Something more cruel. But I came up with more creative ways to not spend so much time in jail if it were me. But
Yes.
I just think the COVID, after the COVID, we have just in general an issue. I think, Robbie, like you mentioned, number one, we have to be able to emotionally regulate. So you don't know how to emotionally regulate. You just make impulsive decisions, and in result, you can lose so much. And so it's really unfortunate. I hope that everything comes out with him in a trial where he gets time, and
He better get some time.
Yeah.
he gets punished as well. Like I really hope that, because what we see when we have offenders like this is most times they don't want to testify in these cases, and so they'll just kind of go silent. So I hope that doesn't happen here. But if it's as far as I said, I was thinking about sending her $20, so I was going to put a little GoFundMe page together for old girl.
You supported
Because I think she had to. I can understand. Not
Right.
agree, but I can understand.
Right.
Well,
I
there's
can agree.
some good comments online. I love that, Dr. T. Lizzie says, yes, Gianni, she picked him. And I bet you this was not the first time. Just awful all around.
Miss Lizzie is on fire, okay? Miss Lizzie does not play any games with us.
Lizzie, don't play around.
And the question is, why was he alone with the kids at all? Did he work there as well?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jacqueline
Yes,
Robinson
he did.
says,
Bus driver.
yeah, he did.
I believe.
He did work there as well.
Bus driver. Okay.
Yeah, he did some.
He was
there.
involved. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like me and my wife's business. Posh. I'm not the owner, but I am direct. I do work there. I do little things
Help.
there. Yeah, and so I'm sure her husband was similar. Help. All right, Jacqueline Robinson says, it's wrong, but I understand. Old girls should have been given a medal and a national parade. As Aretha Franklin
Right.
sang, ain't no
Medal.
way. Yeah. I don't know.
No way.
I love saying is like, put myself in the same shoes. I could see myself doing the same thing and expecting to go to jail for it. So that's just, I mean, but
I would expect it.
I would expect to go to jail for it, but I would probably do the exact same thing. So,
And we'd have a cartel leader write a letter on your behalf apologizing.
it's true. Lies and shenanigans. I don't know
This is
what to call
truth.
this. I'm going with truth on
Sad
this.
truth.
I mean, she
It's
did the
sad
right
truth,
thing.
yeah.
It's pretty sad though.
I hope she
Sad
gets the
truth.
time reduced during the sentence.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know
they're
how old.
appealing. I think I
Okay.
read that they're appealing, so hopefully she does.
And she has a lot of supporters, so hopefully that they can lean on the local government too.
Public
Absolutely,
support.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
crazy
it
thing, the
goes a long way.
prosecutors supported it. So I mean, this judge is just being an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Like,
Yeah.
what bone do you have to pick?
All right, Robbie, you're up next.
Truth, lies,
All right.
So you got more sci-fi movies becoming real life. Tell us
Right.
what's up.
All right. So, a little bit of preamble. Victoria Gray, a Mississippi woman, received an experimental treatment for her sickle cell disease that used the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technique, which allowed doctors to make very precise changes to her DNA. So, after several painful months, she's fully recovered and fully active. Now, the same gene editing technique was used by Dr. Hee Jong-kyu, sorry for mispronouncing that, to grow 2 girls from embryos, which he said would make them resistant to HIV. Now, his work was widely condemned by the scientific community and they described the experiment as medically unnecessary and ethically irresponsible. And he got 3 years in jail for his experiments. So my question to you is gene editing's potential ability to fix people at the genetic level a threat to those who are judged by society to be biologically inferior? Or is it humanity's path to eliminating diseases at a genetic level?
Let's lead off with Dr. T.
Yeah.
Ooh, y'all was using these SAT words too
I
in here.
know,
I
right?
love it. I
That's
am
Robbie.
here for it. Okay.
That's Robbie.
Woo. Listen, so if I have to decode that, do I think it's necessary? I do. I mean, I don't think he should have gotten the time. I mean, I think when we have the opportunity or chance, I mean, again, I have to blame this on the healthcare system too, because a lot of they want to see us sick so that way we can, pay these ridiculous amounts for prescriptions to treat, not necessarily cure. So I feel like if there is an opportunity available and people are compliant or agree, right, waiving, saying, I'm cool with that, then I think we should explore it. I mean, it's no different than, to me, when with the COVID testing, where they use the abortion fetal cells for the COVID shot, So I mean, I feel like medicine is leading into that direction, and I don't think that we should condemn for that. So I'm a little annoyed that he got that time. Maybe I'll have to start a GoFundMe.
Yanni.
I'm biased though. I mean, I think on one hand, I'm all here for like eradicating if that's I'm upping my words. I'm using big words.
Yes.
Trying to be like Robbie.
I'm trying. But in genetic disease, if we can stop genetic diseases in babies and future generations, like that's so cool. I'm all the way here for that. But I'm always trying to understand how are we doing that. Like I'm always one to question what are we doing. Like, how are you guys doing that? Are you using ethical means to do that, or are we going down the weird path? And it's more of like that, because science can get weird, and it like often.
What would be unethical to you?
Like the whole using baby stem cells, abortion, fetal. Like that don't sit right with my spirit. Like that doesn't.
Oh, really?
It doesn't. I mean, I understand like it's recycling and it's probably somehow, I mean, it's useful, obviously, but it's very weird. It's very weird. I mean, it's almost like we're okay with murder. I don't know. It gets weird. It gets deep for me. I mean, we can talk about it. We can talk about it on a different. Okay.
So first of all, you consider abortion murder, and then you're saying that we're potentially murdering children to have stem cells.
Which is different than genetic editing.
It is different. It is a different thing.
A very different topic altogether that we could have for.
Yeah, you're right. It is different. It's a different thing, but I was using that more to ask, in what way are we editing those genes? Like, in what way are we splicing the DNA, and what are we adding into it? You know what I mean? And then also the talk of mutations. So I mean, we all have questions, obviously, but I think that the effort and the goal is beautiful. Like, I'm all the way here for it. Like, peace and love, of course. I'm happy for that, but I'm just.
So personally,
it's the process.
I'm down for gene editing because I've made it very clear I'm trying to live forever.
Yeah, you said that.
If you add another 50 years,
you want to
gene edit. You can gene edit me all you want to give me another 50 years. Give me some. Give me some. I'm all for the stem cells too. Give me whatever you got. All right.
Well, sickle cell anemia is not curable. This is like, and it is a very painful thing to go through.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
That's yeah.
But where we do need to be careful ethically is, because we talked about this movie Gattaca, right? And so Gattaca, basically, you start gene editing people, and you have, higher level human beings. So you have, and then you got to figure out what's beautiful. What's the right? What is it? Is it right to be tall? Is it right to be short?
Who sets that norm?
Right. Who sets what the norm is? Is it right to have blue eyes? So the people who have blue eyes are gene edited. Is it, are you editing women and men? What are you creating? And so it gets like really crazy as to like what is the right thing to be, and then you start editing these people, and then they become the elite people, everybody who has blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever, or maybe it's the people who have black hair, dark skin. Those are the elite people. Whatever it is, you start editing people to be what society is deemed as correct. Then
and that's the slippery slope, because if we are able to determine which genetic traits are favorable and which ones to phase out, there's going to be a long-term impact
I was going to say that too,
our population. We're going to lose certain segments of our population. Groups of our population that are important in teaching us about, well, medical discovery, teaching us about empathy, what it is to actually be a caring human being. So, would we lose part of our sense of compassion over time? Would the normals be phased out, like you said, also, Neo?
Right.
And what you said, Johnny, was interesting too, because there is a fear that if a mistake is made, we can introduce a new genetic mutation into the human gene pool, which would then be passed down from generation to generation. So,
but then that mutation, you got to consider that mutation could eventually be the reason that you don't survive COVID.
Well, and that's it. If it's a genetic mutation that you haven't planned for, that's because the DNA has been spliced incorrectly,
or just because it's unnatural. So if you have a natural virus that attacks you, and you have this mutation that makes you vulnerable to that particular virus, then you're dead, right? Because I remember a Star Trek episode, a Star Trek: Next Generation. I know we're getting sci-fi, but where they did so much gene editing and growing people in test tubes and stuff that they were no longer viably able to produce children. And so their society, they had no children in their society because, they couldn't actually make children anymore. So, I mean, it's dangerous, but right now, give me all the gene editing. I give you all the genes you want, edit them, put them back in, whatever you got to do. Just give me another 50, 60 years.
There's people that are here now that are over 115 years old. They're probably in like Beijing
and
somewhere in the mountains.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just need to eat
They're
well.
Everywhere, Johnny. They're everywhere.
All right, real quick. So we're way out of time. Oh, wow. Okay. So Jacqueline Robinson, I have no issues with stem cell research being used to cure chronic diseases. And Lizzie says, I wish gene editing could fix my pancreas and crummy diabetes. People really do not understand the difficulties of living with a lot of these diseases. But yes, another case of selective outrage. I got some truth going on, truth, lies, shenanigans.
Cure cancer, cure AIDS.
I got truth. I'm calling truth.
Truth.
All right. These are some great topics, man. This was some good conversations, people. Deep. All right, we got to have some fun, though. Got to get to have some fun. Let's go.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. What in the world is going on? Hold on 1 second.
It's the 7 seconds. I always got to imitate.
7-second challenge.
Okay, there we go. Now we got. I disappeared from my thing. We're all set now. All right, so
spin that wheel.
Today's game is 7-second challenge. We'll spin the wheel, and it'll give each of you a challenge to perform. You'll have 7 seconds to complete it correctly. If you don't in 7 seconds, you don't get a point. I'm sorry, if you do it in 7 seconds, you get a point. If you don't do it correctly or in time, or you can choose to refuse to do it, you get nothing. And I'm, of course, the judge. But the person with the most points wins, and the winner gets the very final thought for the show. All right, are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, we're going to start. We're going to start with Gianni Storm. We give Dr. T a little time to see how the game works. All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair.
All right. Gianni, you have 7 seconds to say 5 different Spanish names. 5 different Spanish names. Ready, set, go.
Jesus, Jose, Jorge, Pedro, Alejandro.
All right. Good job. We're giving you that one. All right. Good job. All right. 1 point for Gianni. All right, Robbie, you ready?
Yeah. Am I? I don't know.
This is great. Robbie, recite a poem about yourself.
An
Yes.
ode to Bert. How this makes my brain hurt. I wish that you could see a little bit more about me. I would love to share my
Aw.
life with my beautiful wife. The music makes me happy.
Yes.
Oh, Robbie.
Making rhymes snappy.
Oh, Robbie.
Yes, Rob.
Oh, that was
He's
pretty
a
good, buddy.
musician. He's an artiste.
All right, good job, Robbie.
Very
You
good.
Good, Rob.
Definitely get a point for that one. All right, Dr. T, you're up.
That was good.
Okay, that's
All
good.
right.
Whew. I can pass this one.
No. Okay.
Oh
no.
no.
Somebody
It
is not feeling
It
it.
does not want you to play. All right, let's try it one more time.
Right.
Okay, now the game's just acting up. Oh, now it's just acting crazy.
Snippety snap.
Okay.
How about that?
One more
I
time.
should be able to get a point.
Watch it get
Based off
for
the
one,
strength.
a physical one.
Oh, is this not going to work for
Zoot
them?
hello.
All right. So we,
I'm not mad at that.
Well,
I'm not
wait,
mad.
I got something for you. Hold on. We're going to come up with something, though.
I was gonna say, if Neo just pulls up the app, he can read something off of there at random.
That's
for
what I'm
us
about to do.
And shoot.
All right.
Sweet.
Oh, this is a good one. Recite any rap or song lyrics. Recite.
Ooh. Or
Drop
song.
it.
Okay.
Oh goodness. Okay, y'all did this to me. Okay.
Ready? Go.
And I appreciate the Roxanne gifts that you caught me, baby. And the house on the hill when you dropped like 80 on a down payment. Think
Yes.
damn and life gravy. And ever since from my honey, I've been twice the lady.
Yeah. Woo!
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely give
That
me
was
that one.
Hey.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Last
When
round.
music
Last
was
round.
fun.
We're going to see if we can spin it. If we can't. All right. We got to spin it. All right.
Yeah.
Gianni, name 5 countries in Africa.
Oh gosh.
Go.
Okay. Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana,
Oh, Gianni. You blew
okay,
it.
sorry.
You blew
I had
it,
to think.
Gianni.
An
All
easy
right.
one was North and South Sudan. That's a twofer.
All
There's
right.
so many.
There are. Yes, there are.
Like,
All
A
right.
lot.
Robbie,
All right.
name any 5 currencies.
Ooh.
Starting now.
All right. The dollar, the pound, the lira, the rupee, the ruble, the. I've got it. So.
Yen.
Good job. You got 5. Good job. All right.
Good.
All right.
Dr. T, this is your opportunity to tie. Let's see. Let's see if it works for you this time. Maybe it's just you.
Please don't work for me.
Oh, we already did this. We're gonna give you a different one.
Yeah, we did that.
Okay.
Oh, here. This is gonna be fun.
Inventing new
Invent
words.
a new word and define it. Invent a new word
Okay.
and define it starting now.
Zhuzh.
Cartepolis corporate. Cartepolis corporate is when a corporate cartel, and when a cartel goes corporate and they have a marketing person and they write apology letters. Cartepolis corporate.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
I'm giving that one.
Dr. T wins.
All right. Dr. T, with that one, you win the
That was
game.
good.
Yay! Oh my goodness.
That was gold.
That was
All
that was so much fun.
Well done.
Good job.
I vow for that to be in the dictionary, or at least the Urban Dictionary.
All right, you got any shout outs, Dr. T?
Yes, I'd love to shout out my beautiful kids, and I love them, Jeremiah, Rob, and Kristen, and Christina. And I wanted to shout out myself. My new book just dropped, The Imposter Syndrome, Overcoming
What?
Imposter Syndrome. You can download it on Amazon. You can download it on Barnes & Noble and my website, www.rochellemthompson.com. And last but not least, my clients. I love each and every one of you all. Y'all make me who I am. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are so brave. Y'all come to this space. I love my clients. I want to shout y'all out. Y'all are my everything.
I love that. I love that
Love
shout
it.
out. Robbie?
I want to
Aw.
shout out my son, Zach, who celebrated his birthday earlier this week. He's a wonderful guy, and it was so nice to break bread with the family to celebrate him. And a shout out
Nice.
to the Boston Bruins for having a
Boo.
season and being
Boo.
for the first NHL team to clinch a playoff spot, buddy. So way to go, boys.
Boo. Okay. Johnny Storm.
Shout out to my two best friends who had a birthday yesterday, both ironically on the same day they have birthdays. But shout out to the Pisces gang. Yay! And she watches our show a lot, so I hope she was able to see that.
Nice.
Aw, that's awesome.
All right. And my shout out goes to the College Park City Council members, my home College Park. They've carried on after the, of course, the mayor's arrest. And we're actually going to have a couple of council members, sitting council members on this podcast. A couple of them are running for the now vacant seat.
Nice.
That includes the
Wow.
mayor pro temp, Denise Mitchell. She already booked, she confirmed for the first week in April. So we're going to talk to
Nice.
her. And of course, we're going to talk to her about the former mayor. And so shout out to the council. Good job tough situation. So good job.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. That is officially all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We hope you learned something, gained a new perspective, or had some laughs with us. We will be back recording our podcast live next week, as always, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll have to see when we can get the amazing Dr. T back on the show. Don't forget, check out our video clips. Subscribe to us on YouTube using TLSShow.com. And look for our official audio podcast episodes on Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your podcast. And our winner for the final thought of the day, Dr. T, close us out.
You know what? Each and every week you have the opportunity to sit at the seat of choice. You have the chance to sit at the seat of choice. That means whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I would venture to tell you to join us every Sunday on Truth, Lies, and Shenanigans, where I am a fan and I get to watch these beautiful individuals. And so I want you to make those choices each and every Sunday.
Oh, we love you.
love
We
that.
love you. We're all
that.
day. Let me get some claps for that. Yay. All right. So thank you, Robbie Rock, Gianni, and our guest host, Dr. Rochelle Thompson. But most importantly, we need to thank you for listening to our shenanigans each and every week. Have a great one, guys. See ya.
Bye.